What's up? What's up? What's up? Welcome to another episode of Off the Dribble, presented and powered by the Warner Robins All Stars AAU team. We got a big show for you today, so thank everybody for joining in. Before we get to our special guest, I want to go ahead and introduce the team. We got Coach Tat Brooks, Coach Charles G, and joining us today, our spotlight player, HB Morgan from Houston County High School. What's going on, HB?
Doing not much.
Good. Hey, real quick, man. You had a strong junior year, man, and I know you're looking forward to basketball getting in place. Just wanted to go over a couple of your stats, man. You were averaging 12 points a game, 4 rebounds, 3 assists, 2 steals, and a very, very impressive stat was a 3.8 GPA that you were carrying, man. You want to talk on that just a little bit as far as that school piece?
Yeah, well, going to all these camps and stuff, coming up, the coaches that were at these camps and, the coaches that were, part of my AAU team, they always kept it really important, very imperative to keep your GPA up as long as your skill on the basketball court. Without your GPA, there's no going on to the next level. You don't have to worry about the college coaches hitting you up and stuff like that. So it's very imperative to keep your GPA up.
Hey, man, 100%. 100%. Happy to have you on the show, brother.
Appreciate you.
All right. So without further ado, let's bring on our special guest. On the radar, Hoops owner and founder, Mr. Shawn Wayans.
Man, what's going on? Thank you for having me.
Shawn, it's big, man. Thank you for coming on the show. How's the family doing?
Man, everything is good. Everything is good. I can't complain.
Good. Hey, besides you being the founder and owner of On the Radar Hoops, you're also a director of tournaments and camps, as well as a scout and an evaluator. Can you speak on that a little bit, kind of what all of those roles entail?
I think they all go, pretty much hand in hand. For me, I'm able to see, kids throughout the year with their high school team, see those kids, evaluate them, recommend them to schools of all levels. But then again, just turn around and have camps where then you're able to find some kids who are more so hidden gems. And then, kind of go back and see some of the kids that you saw throughout the season who, maybe didn't do as well as you thought they would do. Then just see, just to see some guys come out and play and probably help their stock rise. So when you're running camps, tournaments, to me is all pretty much hand in hand.
Yes, sir. So if you don't mind, Shawn, can you kind of give us, I guess, your background, your history? Like we were talking earlier, I did some research, but I'll let you get out all the information first. But if you could just kind of walk us through as far as maybe your athletic history, right? And then how you got to the point where you wanted to start these programs.
For me, as far as like my athletic background, now I played football and basketball and ran track at Buford. Basketball was my first love. I didn't even play football as a freshman. I just thought I was too small. I didn't want to go out there. I didn't want to play. I had one of my coaches say, hey, come out. He saw me run track. I was really fast. He said, hey, come out sophomore year. I promise if you don't like it, you'll never have to, worry about me asking you to play football again. So I went out and, man, I really liked it, right? I fell in love with the game of football. And then as a junior, that's when I started receiving offers. And at that time, I decided to hang basketball up because to me it was just more important to focus on one sport. So I ended up playing college football. I went to UAB, transferred to Georgia Southern. Now, my best friend, who is a college coach, I remember being with Andre Morgan, who's the assistant at Middle Tennessee State. So when he was getting ready to jump into this whole college thing, me and him always hanging out, we're running around, always in the gym with a ton of players. And at that time, I felt like kids and parents didn't have a way to kind of connect with coaches, right? I thought it was like a bridge that was missing to connect these people in Atlanta. So as I started becoming more familiar with players and coaches, I decided to run a camp. So somehow I convinced all these, at the time, some really, really good players that were, in Atlanta. that were just in Georgia. I had kids come from Augusta, Ahmed Hill. I had Brandon Green come out of South Georgia. And I had some really good high school coaches that kind of helped me put this camp together, helped me structure it. And once again, I convinced some national media to come in and kind of give these guys some attention. And that's when Twitter was just coming about. So this was probably 2010, 2011. So the camp was really successful. I started sending information out on Twitter. Coaches started reaching out, and then, I think I did a camp in the fall. I turned around and did one in the spring, and it was kind of like, hey, now, coaches were calling me, asking me information on players. Like one of the first players that I really got close to, him and his dad, was Marcus Hunt. Nobody had really knew who Marcus Hunt was, but Marcus Hunt, obviously he went to North Clayton High School and played at Georgia Tech for 4 years. Then he played in the NBA as well. So a lot of guys didn't know who he was. But every day I was just on the phone. Hey, look, man, I got a kid that I think could really help you. You just need to see him. And I never remember Corey Williams, who was at Florida State. He decided to come up. He was like, look, I'm going to come up and check the kid out. So, he came up, offered Marcus Hunt. And, from there, I think each year was pretty much just kind of building. It went from a camp, then it went to a tournament. Then it went to the next tournament. And now I've been able to kind of build up a pretty good reputation.
Right. Oh, yeah, man. You definitely have a hell of a reputation. I would say the Southeast, you have a lot, right? I think if something's moving, you're going to know about it, or you're going to be in the mix on that. And I know that your influence is only spreading. So that's big, man. That's big. Hey, so I do want to ask you about the talent evaluator scout piece of it.
Okay.
Right. So when you're out looking at these kids, or whatever the case may be, what are the things that stick out to you that that can translate to the next level?
I think, in addition to size, right? A lot of people always look at size for position, right? How big somebody is. But in addition to that, I think just skill set. I think in the South that is lost is the ability to shoot the ball. A lot of kids can't shoot the ball. It's more so, big, strong athletes who can run and jump, get downhill, and finish around the basket. So I try to look at relatable skills that's going to translate: the ability to shoot the ball, if you're a point guard, the ability to handle under pressure, court vision, the ability to be vocal, because you can't be a point guard and never open your mouth. Right. You know what I mean? And also the ability to defend that position. Everybody wants to be a point guard on offense, but on the defensive end, can you defend a point guard? Right. Regardless of if he's 5'10" or 6'5", do you have that ability to really get down into the defense? So, there's several different things that go into that. And, my thing is, you can't really judge a kid off of watching him play one time, because people gonna have bad games, right? And pros like LeBron, he has bad games. The media, kills him, but it's just part of it. You're not gonna play your best every single game. Right. So it's just being able to see kids multiple times before you can make an honest assessment and say, hey, this is what the kid can do, and this is what level I think he can play at. Right.
Shawn, quick question: What would you say your expectations is of a kid when you're referring them to one of the college coaches?
My expectation is, for me, whatever I saw in you, whatever you did, the ability to shoot, the ability to play, I expect you to do that same thing in front of this college coach, right? Now, it's okay if you have a bad game, but at least play hard. At least show him that you have the talent. You know what I mean? So for me, that's my expectation. Is just show them what you showed me, right? I'm referring you. Let me see. If you have a bad game, okay, that's cool. Everybody have bad games, but, at least go out, do your best, compete, perform.
Yeah, so Coach, what I say, Coach, Shawn, what kind of advice would you give, parents, players when they selecting or when they going through that scouting process? What kind of advice would you give parents?
I mean, I think the biggest piece of advice is you got to be patient. everybody's journey and everybody's path is different. I think sometimes parents get consumed with, they look at, this kid here, who may be in the same class as your son, but maybe he has 5 offers and he may be a sophomore. Okay, everybody's path different. So if you continue to work, continue to get better, keep your grades up, if you're that good, your opportunity will come. Because this is what I always try to tell kids. A lot of times, the best ninth grader, he's not going to be the best 10th grader. The best 10th grader is not going to be the best 11th grader. You just got to continue to work, continue to build on your game each and every day. And like I said, everybody's journey is different. So you got to be consistent and you got to be patient.
So, Coach, you emphasized the work ethic, right? So I would say, and I want your opinion on this, but between the work ethic, and the grades, those have to be automatic, right? So that's not something that can be in question if you're looking at going to that next level.
No, without a doubt. I think a lot of times guys have the basketball piece figured out, right? But then when I refer them to these schools, or if I ask them, hey, what's your GPA? Probably 75% of them gonna tell me a GPA that's actually higher than what their GPA really is. So when these schools go pull their transcript and it's a little lower, like that's the thing that I don't think they understand, because it's like, they won't take their freshman and sophomore year serious. So now they're playing catch up when they're junior and senior. They're trying to go to summer school and they're really in a bind because they played around their freshman and sophomore year. Then it's like, hey, I'm getting ready to go to college as a junior, and the grades aren't there.
Right. So have you seen that? Just thoroughly hurt people's chances that actually were getting recruited and getting looked at until the grade situation came into play?
Every year, never fails. Every single year it happened over and over and over again. And at this point, it's like these kids have been coming, and I've seen them as freshmen, sophomore. It happens every single year. It's just something. It's like either you can get it or you don't. Sometimes kids, they gotta kind of go through that experience for themselves, and then that's how they kind of figure it out.
So what advice would you give these kids, man, when they come to those tournaments and those coaches are there? They're nervous, don't want to make a mistake, afraid to to do certain things, and got the mind on everything, but just going out there to play. What advice would you give them when they come to the tournaments during the live period or whenever the coaches are there?
I think the biggest thing, man, is just relax, right? Relax, play the game, do what you can do and do it well. And like I say, you're not always gonna play hard, but you're not always gonna play well, but you can play hard. So that's the biggest thing, is just kind of relax. I know you're here to be evaluated. Yes, it is a big time, right? But like you just gotta get used to playing in front of people, because this is your opportunity. Like when you're playing in these non-live periods, yeah, people can see video, but now these guys get to recruit you live. This is your opportunity to really show what you can do. So relax. If you miss a shot, if you don't play good in one game, okay, that's cool. You have a couple more games. Let's get it together. Let's figure it out. And let's go play well and show the coaches what you can do.
So,
go ahead, Sean, my bad.
Oh, so Shawn, can you talk a little bit about when, it's important where you play, right? So we hear that all the time. And as we try to build avenues to build this platform and get this area kind of on the map, we hear the saying, hey, if a shoe team come down here, then Middle Georgia get put on the map, or whatever the case may be. So from what you've seen and what your experience, do you see that as something being true, or you think this thing can be moved without that happening?
As far as you say, with the organization getting a shoe deal?
Well, with just a shoe deal in Middle Georgia area or South Georgia, whatever the case may be.
It doesn't necessarily what you guys have been able to build in Warner Robins and the tradition and with the players that have put on the jersey, those guys didn't play on the shoe team and they still went to school, right? So regardless if you guys get a sponsor deal or not, it doesn't matter because kids are going to school regardless, right? There's been, like Nelson Phillips, Ty Fagan, some of those guys that's in their area. None of those guys were on the shoe team, and they've done really well, and they went to the next level. They played at the highest level, and some of those guys have played at smaller schools. So I just think, none of that stuff matters. None of it matters. It's about getting kids in school. You guys have done a great job of getting kids in school every single year.
Appreciate that.
So HB, I'm gonna throw it to you in just a minute, but I want to follow up kind of on that question, as far as our platform. So Shawn, our platform is to educate and help build the basketball culture in Warner Robins, Macon, and the surrounding counties, right, area. So that's between players, coaches, and parents. So while we're on the shoe circuit or the shoe teams or whatever the case would be, can you kind of speak from your experience and knowledge that it's more important to find the right fit for your kid to play versus chasing a status or somewhere to go player?
Right. Now, what I always tell people, if you have the opportunity, if your son has the opportunity to go and play meaningful minutes and be a star on a shoe company, you go and you take it because that platform is amazing, right? Nike is leading the way, followed by Adidas and Under Armour. Amazing platforms who can do some stuff that, like, I wouldn't be able to do it and more independent guys wouldn't be able to provide. But at the same time, if your son is playing 8 to 10 minutes a game, it's just, you could play 8 to 10 minutes a game or come play for Warner Robins All-Stars and you can play 25 minutes a game. So I don't think, parents don't understand that when coaches come to see you play. If I'm bringing my head coach to see you play, I want to actually see you play meaningful minutes. I don't want to see you playing 8 minutes here. You don't play the next game. You play 10 minutes a game the next game. No, I'll recruit this kid from Warner Robins who's playing 25 minutes a game, who's really out there playing in crunch time situations and who's doing extremely well. So I think sometimes a lot of parents get so caught up, I got to play on this platform, and they forget there's a kid that's over here who's not playing on that platform, who's picking up multiple offers while you're chasing playing, 8 to 10 minutes a game. So a lot of times I think, like that platform is, like I said, it's amazing, but when it comes down to you providing your kid the best opportunity, they have to be playing. You can't just sit on the bench and pick up offers, right? You got to be playing, getting that in-game experience, which will help your son when they get, to the season. So I always try to tell people this. AAU starts in March. Do you want to be the kid that's playing 8 minutes a game from March to August? Or do you want to be the kid that's playing 25 minutes a game from March to August? That kid playing 25 minutes a game is going to have more, he's going to be in more situations. He's going to have more experience. So by the time he gets out of AAU in August, he's going to be twice as good as the kid playing 8 minutes a game, just because he's going to have a ton more experience. So it goes a long way. And I just think a lot of people are kind of, if your kid isn't playing, I think you're doing them a disservice. Move them, allow them to get better, play on another team. And, if you want to put him back on the shoe team, okay, cool. But if not, he can get the same opportunities playing on an independent team.
Sir.
I just wanted to ask, as a young man who actually made it, to the highest division of the next level that they can go to, what inspired you to want to help, kids like me, young men like us, and evaluate us to get us on the next level?
Man, to be honest with you, when I was coming through and a lot of my teammates who was coming through, there was nobody to really give us honest advice. And I don't even think it was nobody to give us advice, period, because my mom didn't know. She didn't go to college. My dad didn't go to college, so there was nobody there to help. I just made every decision on my own. So for me, as I got around and became more familiar with the kids and their parents, I said, man, look, I want to be the person to really help you and tell you the truth. And see, that's another thing. I think a lot of people are going to tell you what you want to hear, right? But like that's not always best, right? I want to tell you, this is what This is where I expect you can play. This is what you got to do, right? And let's go ahead and let's push to get there. I don't want to tell you, hey, you're the greatest thing ever, because, that's not true, right? So, most of the time it's just not true. You got to kind of get people and have these realistic expectations. And for me, I just want to help put kids in school. Go to school, have that experience, and be able to play.
Hey, Sean, and you know us, we like to bring the kids up to your events all the time, and try to play in multiple tournaments every summer. You having that independent platform, I should say, majority independent platform.
Right.
What's your focus on the independent teams?
For me, my focus is to really have you guys play in front of college coaches. To create an atmosphere, even though you're not on the circuit, I'm gonna create an atmosphere with social media, with Twitter, Instagram, with video, with graphics, but more importantly, college coaches, right? Like anytime I'm in a live period, I hardly ever run a tournament structure. Some people like it, some people don't. But at the end of the day, when you have a really good kid, I want to be able to showcase your kid against another person that has a really good kid. And you play 5 really good games where, look, you know what? We came up here, we really played some good competition, and we played in front of college coaches, right? Like for me, that's the goal, because as you see, like the shoe companies, Nike, these people will be lined up to watch some of those kids play. But look, there's really good kids over here too. Just because you haven't heard about them, or maybe they don't have that national appeal, it's some really good kids that's here at this event. I'm setting something up where you can see these guys play, when you do come into town. Right. So that's the main focus for me.
Shawn, can you kind of speak on that just a little bit more, just from a standpoint of the relationship that you have with the college coaches, and how you were able to build those relationships to have those guys come out to your events?
I think for me, the biggest thing is being able to trust, right? When I say trust, the same way that I mentioned earlier, being able to be realistic with the parents and the kids, but at the same time, if a coach calls me, I want to be able to say, hey, look, this guy can play for you, or this guy, he's not good enough. I don't want to just say, hey, fly to Atlanta and go see 3 kids who I know cannot play for you. So a lot of the stuff comes from a relationship, but a lot of stuff comes from being able to get the best talent in the country and bring them to have, an event. And I think for me, being able to give independent teams an opportunity to play against shoe teams, right? The best independent teams can play the best shoe teams. And a lot of times I have the best shoe teams play against another shoe team who's on a different circuit. And so just being able to create those matchups, the environment, and bring all that talent to an independent event, I think a lot of times that's what, coaches want to see that. Because at that point, by the time we get to July, okay, well, let's see the end of, and we're all playing, in Atlanta. So I think over the years, I've kind of been able to create an environment, and people just, they come in to see top guys and some guys from they've never even heard of. So it's turned out to be pretty good.
So let me ask you about the tournament piece of it, right? So not only do you have your hand in the AAU travel tournaments, but high school as well. What was kind of a thought process or an influence to want to get the high school teams involved?
I do one high school event a year, the week before Thanksgiving. And, same concept, just more so I try to go get the best group of talent in the state of Georgia and bring them and put them on a platform, right? So with that, I think over the past, I've probably been doing the high school event for I think since 2011 or 2012. But same focus, rolling out everything, putting those kids on the platform and trying to bring in some national media and have some college coaches come through, even though they're in season, have those guys come out as well to see some of these kids.
Okay, and so in that same token, right? So when you're instrumental in getting these guys into school, how important is it for you to make sure that they're going to the right school, right? So we've seen a big rash of people going in the transfer portal, and I would think maybe that's because they weren't really aware, right? I know it's several different scenarios and circumstances how that could come up, but I would think my initial thought would be because something didn't go as planned and it wasn't a right fit for them. So, how do you, in your roles as well, how do you kind of advise people on making sure a school is a right fit for
To be honest, man, I tell people this all the time. I don't really advise them, and the reason I say that it's only a select few. But the reason I say that is because everybody has their handler, or they have their AAU coach, and they have their uncle or their aunt or their cousin who assumes everybody wants their kid to play at the highest level. And once again, it goes back to being able to build a circle of people that you can trust to give you some honest advice. So, a lot of times I might be like, hey, I think this kid, look, you should go to, you should go to Kennesaw State. Those are the guys that's calling you every time. Their head coach is showing up to every single one of your games. You should really go there. You got a chance to talk to the head coach multiple times. He calls you. You feel comfortable with the staff. You have an opportunity to go in and play. Instead of going to Kennesaw State, they'll vote for a bigger program who comes in at the last minute, and it's it goes out the door, right? Everything that you tell these people, it goes out the door because, man, I can go play in the ACC. So then when they get there, they were the team's fifth and sixth option. So when they get there, it's like, this kid really isn't that good. He's going to sit on the bench. And a lot of these kids, you can't go from being a superstar to coming off the bench. It's kind of hard, right? Because everybody in college was once a star in their high school. Like, everybody thought they was the man. So it's a lot of times it's just really hard, I think, for kids to be able to adjust to coming off the bench and trusting the process and just working and getting better. But for the kids who do listen, it's been up. But like I think a guy from Middle Georgia who I really, Kawasi, I've been able to build a great relationship with Kawasi. But from day one, it was always like, look, I'm gonna give you advice. I'm gonna tell you what I know, and I'm gonna tell you what I experienced over the past 10 or 12 years, and let's go this way, right? And he's a guy just recently that never wavered off anything I told him to do. Don't worry about the rankings. It's gonna come. I'm gonna make sure he in front of the right people. Right. Don't leave your team. Stay on the independent team. I'm gonna make sure you play in front of the right coaches. Right? So now his son is a rising senior, and he's ranked, I think in the new rankings, he came out at number 32, the number 32 player in the country. Never played on a big shoe team. He don't even live in Atlanta. He down there in Middle Georgia, right? But it's more so the kid worked. He got a lot better. Then, Kawasi Senior, he was able to get the right advice, and the kid, he went and he performed, and it worked out for him, right? Then as far as him choosing schools, what I told him, I said, hey, you build a relationship with that head coach. And, then you go from there. So it's hard to give people advice, man, because everybody has somebody who assumes they know the process, or they've been through the process, and they really haven't.
And with that being said, like you say, man, Kawasi is a big part of what we're trying to do here in Middle Georgia as well. Right. We call on him to pick his brain about things and ask his advice, and he gives his advice. And we have kids, we make sure he gets the information on those kids so he can get it out. And the same thing with you, man. We same way, we get you the information of kids and get your feedback on what you think and stuff like that. And my thing is for parents, like you say, the right situations. Put your kid in the right situations, and I think in our area, like you say, it's a lot of parents that want that big shoe deal and be on that shoe circuit. And then, like I said, and there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that at all. But you got to have your kid in the right situation. And with us, that's the way I think about the program. we have to have our program in the right situation. And coming to your events is part of our right situations. Because like you say, we've got kids to the next level. And that's what we're trying to create around Middle Georgia. To get these kids that play basketball, we're trying to get them to the next level. And you are a big help in that avenue, man, of us doing that. And we appreciate that.
Well, I appreciate y'all coming up.
Hey, Shawn.
I appreciate y'all coming up. What's going on?
Hey, man, you kind of spoke on it a little bit already, but when these parents selecting, you know, a AAU team, from your experience, what can you tell them, you know, what should they be looking for in an AAU team or a travel team?
You know, I'll be honest. I think sometimes a lot of parents have false expectations, right? And the reason I say that is because they don't understand it. So there's going to be something they don't like about any program they go to, right? There have to be something that you really don't like. But I think the thing that parents should really look at first is, regardless of what's the name is, whatever name's on the jersey, I feel like it got to be a group of people who are really dedicated to helping the kids. First, in school, right? Who's staying on top of them as far as school goes, but who are actively seeking, you know, helping these kids get interest from schools, right? Like putting information up on Twitter, Instagram, getting information out there. I think an AAU coach and AAU organization should be able to have some kind of relationships where they, you know, send kids to camps, take kids to campus. More importantly, live period events, because there's a ton of kids who have honestly never played in live period events. So for me, I think it's just a collection of all of those things. An organization who's going to take a true, genuine interest in your son, right? It's not as just as a basketball player, but hey, we want to help develop this guy into a young man. We want to make sure his schoolwork is taken care of, but hey, we're going to expose him and we're going to take him on campus and try to put him in front of coaches from all levels. That way he can get recruited, but at the same time, we're going to take him to, you know, take him on campus, take him to a couple of games, go to Clayton State, go to Mercer, go to Georgia State, see the different levels of basketball. Because I think a lot of kids just assume, hey, I can play at Georgia. I can play at Georgia Tech. There's a lot of guys at Georgia State who are really good. There's guys at Emory University who are really good and they're better than what you think. So I think parents have to really look at who has a true, genuine interest in your son and just the opportunity to play, develop, and get better, right? I think all those things have to be taken into consideration.
When you talk about like getting kids and young men like more exposure throughout the Southeast, when you hosting tournaments and stuff, do you only look at like hosting with venues in the big name cities, or like do you look at, you know, venues like out, like let's just say Middle Georgia? Do you look at venues like in cities in Middle Georgia, or do you like just refer to Atlanta?
You know, I mean, for me, I refer to Atlanta, and the reason I do that is because the majority of there's more. I have access to more gyms, right? And then, you know, lately, you know, Nike or Under Armour or Adidas will always, you know, they're usually running Lake Point, and I like to run side by side. So that way it is easier for coaches to come over and make a 20-minute ride from Lake Point to come to McKeitron or come 10 minutes to Alatoona High School. So I try to keep it, you know, in Atlanta, just in Metro Atlanta somewhere, just so we can be close, you know, to one of the shoe teams.
I'm kind of piggybacking on that question. So, you know, we hear that the coaches, once they get off the airplanes, they don't come south, right? They don't come 75 south. From what you're doing and your influence and knowledge of this whole culture, what could we do better here in Middle Georgia to kind of build our culture up, to have some of these coaches come down here and see the talent that we have down here?
Well, I think you guys are doing an event at Warner Robins this year, correct?
Yes.
Y'all gonna be able to do an event, okay? See, and then Kawasi has his event. I think just having, if y'all can get the best collection of talent from Middle Georgia, from South Georgia, have that stuff on display, those events, and then pushing the information to coaches. hey, we're going to have these teams playing in these events to showcase this is a lot of the best talent in Middle Georgia and in South Georgia, right? I think that's one way to really push it and to get more coaches to come down, just to come down that way. Now, sometimes guys don't want to make the drive, but more times than not, a lot of guys are gonna go and make that drive because they want to go ahead and build their relationship early. You know what I mean? They want to build their relationship early. I think it takes a lot for somebody just to get in the car or fly, come into Atlanta, get in the car and drive an hour or drive an hour and a half. Right? But like there's guys that they're gonna do it. The guys the coaches that really grind and work hard, they don't got a problem. They gonna get in the car and they gonna make that drive to see them kids. Okay.
Hey Shawn, we got a quick question. We got a question from one of the viewers.
Okay.
Terry Harper wants to know what effect do you think this pandemic will have on this AAU season as far as the guys being seen by college coaches?
It's going to have a big effect on them because, at this point, a lot of guys really just finished recruiting, the current seniors to fill their roster. So at this point, we've missed both April live periods, right? We'll miss everything in June, and the kids will miss everything in July. So as of now, there's nothing set up for college coaches to see these rising seniors.
Right.
Now, I know some things are in place, and maybe they're hoping to be able to do something. They're looking to do a live period in August, September, and do a high school event in October. For some reason, I don't know. I feel like every time they get to the NCAA and the NABC, they get to I guess to their deadline. I always feel like they push it back, and they say, "Hey, we're not gonna do anything. We're gonna see how it looks." At this point, I'd be surprised if we did do a live period. Just with Nike shutting down, I feel like they always kind of lead the way. So with them shutting down, kind of makes me a little uneasy if we'll even do anything as far as a live period goes. I think the NCAA just feels like it's a major liability, and they don't want to take their risk of just having their coaches on the road and that kind of stuff. So at this point, there's nothing set in stone for when there will be a live period, and it's going to affect a ton of kids because a lot of coaches just don't see as many kids in the high school season as they do in A.
Right.
It just doesn't happen.
Right.
So with that, these camps and how important these camps and that you guys and other guys are having, how important do you think it is to these 2021 kids and 2022 and so on?
I think I think camps will be beneficial for guys who can live stream and have people there to record. So at this point, it's about every coach has probably seen whatever footage these kids have, right, from this past season. Everybody's been in the house for months. These guys haven't even been in the office, so they've been at home watching a ton of video. So now, kids being able to come to camps and show them some new video, show them some new footage, and maybe coaches will be able to discover new guys who they may not have seen. Then the ability to go to some tournaments, right? That's not in the live period, but they'll be live streamed. Now coaches can say, "Hey, I can see HB Morgan. I've heard about it. Now I get a chance to see him, even though I can't physically be out. I have a chance to see him, keep up with him. I can see their roster." So now these coaches, they're really gonna have to work just as hard, but that's what they want to do right now. So camps, tournaments, having coaches that's gonna get information out, maybe get some new footage on some kids. All that stuff is gonna be really important.
So Shawn, speaking of camps, you have some camps coming up on the Radar Academy. Can you kind of tell us what that entails and what's to be expected and what that's going to look like?
So, I had some people coming to me about just trying to get new footage for the guys, right? AAU coaches, then I have college coaches that say, hey man, you gonna put something together, get some kids in the gym, do some, just do some transitional stuff, do some situational drills, live stream it or film it. That way we can see it. So I think for me, it's just having a smaller camp. It's not going to be, the bigger camps. It's going to be a small camp with more so situational drills, some competitive 3-on-2, 2-on-1 type of stuff. Just to really get footage and get information out there, get new information out there to coaches. Because like I said, at this point, they can read everything and looked at every possible thing they could look at, right? So now let's get some new information out there. Maybe there's some new guys who've been been really working the past 3-4 months that these guys don't know. So I want to be able to still make a push and be able to help kids, even though we're not having a live period as of now. I want to be able to live stream these games, get content out there, and hopefully be able to help some kids.
So at those camps, can you? 'Cause I know the other side of that, right? The pandemic and
Right.
what it is. Can you kind of speak of what precautions you put in place to ensure that it's the safe environment?
Right. So what I'm gonna do small groups, right? Small groups, between 15 and 18 kids a court, right? We'll check everybody's temperature when they come in. We'll have hand sanitizer. We'll have disinfectant wipes. I'll have somebody, that's constantly cleaning, benches, tables, and cleaning balls. Now, I think for me, one of the big things I wanted to do is just not have any fans. I don't need an extra 100 people to be in the gym. You know what I mean?
Right.
So just have trainers, kids, the people that are going to film or record the games, and that's that. That way, making sure we take everybody's temperature, temperatures to make sure they're good, and not having anybody else in the gym.
Sir.
So when you have these tournaments coming up, if we able to have them, you plan on having them with no fans or
I mean, I think I had talked to a couple of different people as far as tournaments go, how to limit just not being any spectators. Because I think you want to reduce how many people's are gathered in one area. Mm-hmm. So I know for camp, it's easier because it ain't as many kids and people per se. So we're just not gonna have anybody. But for tournaments, I've been interested to see how a lot of people kind of how they plan to do that. Because I was out a couple of weeks ago and I went to a baseball. I was passing a baseball tournament because I was walking in a gym, right, to see some kids work out. All the parents were like in the parking lot, like it was a tailgate. The kids were playing baseball, but all the parents was outside the park. Like they were just like looking over the fence. You know what I mean? So at that particular baseball event, they didn't let any parents come inside, so everybody was in the parking lot. Right. Really just watching their kids sitting in lawn chairs on the tents or whatever the case may be. So I've been trying to figure out, how to do that, and some of the different venues. They got some recommendations, like up in South Carolina and in Florida, they got some different guidelines and precautions that they're taking, as far as it goes to tournaments.
My question is, what is your response or like your reaction to like when you have a heckling parent trying to get their kid more exposure?
A heckling parent. Man, once again, like I said, I think it goes back to, first and foremost, like, is your kid producing? Is he actually playing? Right? You got to actually be playing and be on the floor and having some kind of impact, first and foremost, right? Then from there, it just depends on what year, your kid is in. If he's a freshman, sophomore, or even a junior, it goes back to just being patient and trusting the process because everybody's process is different. So for me, just trying to get a parents the right advice as far as, training, making sure the kid's training, making sure his grades are taken care of, and making sure he's in the right AAU situation. Now, right, if you're doing all those things and the kid, he's showing that he has the ability to play at the next level, okay, cool. I can put you in contact with some schools that I think your son could play at. So I think that's the biggest thing is just once again telling parents to relax and just trust the process because I mean they can be pretty tough on kids.
Hey, Sean, I got a question for you, man. You know, I think that Georgia produced some of the best guards, and the guard play in Georgia is top notch. So that's my opinion. But what attribute from college coaches do you hear most often, most consistent about what they're looking for in guard play?
Once again, I think it comes back to just overall skill set, the ability to shoot the ball. A lot of the guards here, and you can kind of see some of the guards here, they can't make shots. So a lot of dudes will tell me, if I say, "Ah, man, this kid he's 6'3", athletic, can he shoot?" Nah, he can't shoot. I don't want a guy if he can't shoot. I want a guy that can score. So to be honest with you, for a guard, like the ability to handle the ball under pressure, some of those things, but the ability to make a shot. Can you make a shot and also make guys around you better, right? And I think the piece with making a shot is that's a part that's missing with some of the kids in the state.
Mm. Mm.
Being able to shoot, shooting translates.
Shooting translates. So, man, y'all got some tough ones up there in Atlanta, man. We could go down a list of tough ones that's out there, and I think we you know what I'm saying, here in Middle Georgia, we got some tough ones as well, and they starting to come along, and I think they're gonna get some notoriety here pretty soon. But just hearing, and I hope the kids are listening to this, just hearing the fact that hey, you need to keep working on your game, keep working on that shot. But have you seen some kids get recruited? And maybe it's not at a high level. I know you've seen a lot, but as far as having that tenacity on defense, having that ability to lead and things like that, is that something that college coaches, from what you see, looking at as well?
No, I mean I'm gonna give you a perfect example of two kids. Now a lot of people probably looked at Isaac Okoro. He ain't a knockdown shooter, but what he does it well. Like Isaac Okoro is a kid that really defends. He can defend anybody on the floor. He's strong. He plays extremely hard. He's vocal and plays with a ton of energy. He never went out of bounds from what he could do. He always stuck to, look, this is who I am.
Right.
This is what I could do. Right. So for him, he took that same type of energy and took it to Auburn. And now, obviously, he's in a position to be a top 10 draft pick in this upcoming draft. So you got guys like him. You got guys like Josh Okogie, who came out in 2016. Josh Okogie was not a top 100 kid. Some of these AAU teams, they didn't really want him, second option, third option at best. But what he did was he played with a ton of energy. He rebounded. He really defended, and he could get downhill, right, and really score the basketball. Still not a great shooter, right? Still not a great shooter, but what he does it well. So when he was getting recruited, he didn't have, a crazy list of schools that came in and offered him. But, Georgia Tech believed in him. He went to school, and he really just stuck to what he did well, right? And it worked out for him, and he was a top 20 draft pick, in that 2018 draft. So it's not, like I said, once again, it's not shooting if a guy has a little size on him and, you can develop and be a great defender and play with a ton of energy, rebound and run the floor and finish, then it's going to be, you're going to catch the attention of somebody.
Right. So Sean, we got a question as well to kind of go back into that recruiting process. Buddy Bivens says, how does body language on the court affect how college coaches view a player?
No, I think that goes back because it's a big piece, because I know, honestly, we spoke on, you're not going to always play well, right?
Mm-hmm.
There are NBA guys who don't play well, but what you can control, you can't control if you're going to make a shot. Language, you can control you being every time you go on the floor. That alone, a lot of college coaches will say, look, this guy, he great body language. He communicates. He's vocal with his teammates. And you know what? He plays really hard. His jump shot wouldn't fall in the day. He can finish around the basket. Okay, that's cool. We'll take that. We'll take that opposed to a kid who has horrible body language, doesn't communicate, walking back on defense, and don't want to play. I think those three things, body language, being lazy, not communicating, those things can turn a college coach off really quick.
So, Shawn, let me ask you this: what's the best way for a kid to market themselves? Of course, the social media aspect of it, but are there other things as well? And I guess that's a two-part. And as far as with the social media, that can also be detrimental in this process as well if you're putting out crazy stuff, right?
To be honest with you, I think your game is the best way for you to market yourself. If you can play and you're really good, you ain't got to be on Instagram and Twitter. We're going to talk about you. Coach is going to come see you. So, I think that's the best way. But for a kid who is playing really well and people are talking about him, I think just putting information up on Twitter, right? Putting information up, game highlights, game clips, making sure, you got the GPA test score if you are, upperclassman, having that stuff on your profile.
Right.
Because a lot of times, I'll be honest with you, sometimes I might retweet a kid or somebody might send me something, I might put it out, and immediately people will text me like, yo, who is this? Who is this? So a lot of times these coaches are following different guys, and as soon as you tweet something, like it'll pop up on their phone and, give them a notification, and they'll go say, hey, who is this guy? I've never heard anybody talking about it. So Twitter is a great tool. You just got to use it. Every college coach in the country is on Twitter getting information.
Yeah. Okay. So Shawn, we know you're extremely busy, man. So we're gonna kind of wrap this up. So we definitely appreciate you being on the show. But before we go, I want to give you an opportunity to kind of talk about some events and things you have upcoming.
So on June the 13th, I will do the Honor Radar Hoops Academy for the class of 2021 and 2022. Then the next day on the 14th, we'll do the class of 2023 and 2024. Then I'll follow back the following week, and we'll do just a middle school camp to show some of the guys some love that participated in our Battleground series that we did earlier in the year. So right now, those are the camps that I do have on the schedule. Then I also finalized something. I'm gonna do a July 4th invitational down to Disney, which will be July 3rd through the 5th. So those are the things that I have for certain right now that are coming up in the next couple of weeks.
Right. And then as far as everybody to keep in touch with you, man, I know you're big on social media as far as information. You want to give out your social media?
Yeah, on Instagram and Twitter, at On The Radar Hoops.
Cool. Hey, like I said, man, we appreciate you coming on, dropping some knowledge on us. Every time we've interacted in person, man, it's nothing but love. Whatever, you tell us all the time, whatever y'all need, just let me know, and I'll be there to support. So we definitely appreciate you coming on, man.
Nah, I appreciate y'all for having me. Like I always tell you, whatever. You call me, if I don't pick up, I'm going to call you back, and I'm just going to tell you what I know.
Yes,
You know
sir.
what I mean? I'm going to tell you what I know and try to help out.
All right, well, appreciate it, Shawn. Hope you and the family stay safe, man, and we'll be seeing you.
Thanks for having me on.
All right,
brother.
thanks.
All right.
All right, thank you.
Yes, sir.
Hey, so HB, we're gonna give you a little time to shine, man. So we know you're coming off for your junior year. A lot of stuff has happened for the family. Your brother just recently signed. Can you kind of just walk us through that excitement and seeing him sign and what that kind of did for you?
I was very happy. I was very proud of him because just knowing all the work and hours he put in the gym, the weight room and stuff like that. He had a gruesome injury during his senior year, which probably could have, affected the way the recruitment process went. But I was just so happy and proud of him because he still prevailed and still got to the next level.
All right. Did that inspire you?
Yes, very much did. Yes.
All right. So, good. So let's talk about your game, man. How would you describe your game?
Well, I'm a playmaker. I can make everyone else around me better. I space the floor out. I can shoot a little bit sometimes. Uh, let's see. Yeah, I can pass, shoot. I can play a little bit. I can play good on ball defense if you need me to. And yeah, it's a little more about me.
HB, what's some areas that of your game you think you need to probably work on?
Definitely my agility and athleticism. I feel that with my being my size, just like Shun said, a player always has to learn how to shoot. But if a player can go in, play good defense, grab a few rebounds, then that's always a plus.
Okay.
I seen the video. I seen the video of you dunking now.
Yeah, you seen it.
Yeah, I seen you got a little athleticism coming.
I ain't seen it. I still don't believe.
Hey, HB, let me ask you this, man. As a going into your senior season, right? And being affiliated with the Warner Robins All Stars, right? And you got younger guys that look up to you, and come to either your high school games or they're there when you playing travel ball. What advice can you give them as far as what that process is like, and how hard they need to actually work?
Extremely hard. I believe the younger players that coming up behind me need to work extremely hard, not only just to live up to expectation, but you can do it for yourself. I mean, working, get along with good coaches, and then just keep working, stay in the gym, and that's all I can really say. Work ethic.
And I think a lot of people take it for granted, right? They'll see you play and they see you out there doing what you do, hitting the game, winning a shot, or whatever the case may be, getting up and down the court. But I don't know if they really understand how hard that is.
Right.
Based on the hours of either shooting or working on your body, getting stronger, and all those type of things.
Right. That all plays in part. Working on your body, weightlifting, staying in the gym, that all plays in part in everything.
Do you have like a workout schedule or a regimen that you do?
No, sir. Not really. I just some days really most of every day. Well, during school, I would just go to the gym after school. I'll pick a different part of my body to work on. Sometimes it'll be legs. Some days it'll be upper body. Some days it'll be core. And then that just all plays a part.
HB, defensively, we always talk about defensively. And you touched on being an on-ball defender. And what do you think your strength is defensively?
Really, my strength, I believe it is my size. Because when I go up against, players that are much bigger and taller than me, it's kind of easier for me, I would say, because, when playing on-ball defense, you're always looking for the steal or the gamble. But with bigger players, they dribble in the ball. It comes up a little higher off the ground, which gives me more time and space to create that time, to steal the ball, play defense and read where they're looking to go and read who they're looking to pass to. So I believe it's really my size that gives me an advantage.
One more question, HB, and I know Kenny spoke about the younger kids looking up. What would you tell the younger kids about the academic part, man? You have a 3.8.
Right.
You haven't had a chance to take the ACT or the SAT yet, right?
Right.
All right. So I mean, what would you tell the younger kids behind you?
I would say that. Sorry to cut you off, top.
But go ahead.
I would just say to always listen to your coaches and your mentors. You never want to slack off coming into high school, the 9th and 10th grade. People say they don't matter, but it always matters. I would say get to your qualifying test as soon as you can, because you never know what could happen. I would say, yes, your GPA and the grades are the most important part of the recruitment process. I've seen a lot of my friends, my peers, not be on the level that they should because of their grades. So I would say to always keep your grades up and high and worry about that first before basketball.
Hey, HB, man, I've been watching you playing, man, probably for the last 2 or 3 years since we moved in, man. I just want to say your game has really grown. You're getting downhill good. You are knocking. You being a little bit humble, but you are knocking down shots. I see you. You know what I'm saying? So definitely keep putting that work ethic in. Keep having that strong work ethic and keep doing what you're doing, man.
Thank you.
Hey, so we're gonna get out of here, but before we go, HB, I gotta ask the question. You and TJ, who winning?
Look who you're talking to. HB always 11-0.
All right, man. We're gonna have to put y'all on the court. We're gonna have to see it, man. But I hear you. Hey, so all right, hey HB, we appreciate you coming on, man. Wish you nothing but success and luck moving forward. And we're looking forward to watching you play and grow, man, and coming to your signing day. So
yes, of course.
Big shout out, man. We appreciate you coming on.
Thank y'all.
So
All
right, Coach.
Stay there, HB.
So we're gonna we'd like to thank all the viewers for tuning in. Hopefully you were able to take some nuggets away. Before we wrap, Coach Tat, you got anything?
Tune in tomorrow, man. 8:00 round table. Got some good independent independent team organization coaches that'll be on tomorrow night, man, and we're gonna get it in, man, and talk about this independent basketball, trying to move forward.
Coach Charles?
No, man, I just appreciate everybody tuning in, man, as we try to push this thing forward for the surrounding area. Y'all, hey, look in the description box below if y'all want to get in contact with us. Y'all got some content, some information y'all want to share, definitely reach out to us. So
we definitely appreciate it. All you guys for tuning in. Again, we apologize for our last episode with Coach Coleman, but definitely know that we're gonna get that right. We're gonna get her back on because she was dropping a lot of nuggets and information as well. So we appreciate you sticking in there with us as we work through this technology piece and figure it out. But like Coach Sat said, tomorrow 8:00, Coaches Roundtable. Please join in. All right. So we appreciate y'all watching. Peace.